All right, guys. Yeah, so basically, I was just going to show you a couple things. Actually, I've got a slightly new Benzinga Pro setup that I use. Um, I've found separating the news is really helpful. So I've got this news desk uh, tab, and it has got a details screen. That's obviously pretty much always need to have that. And then three different news feeds, and then I just separate the news feeds. So the news feed here is basically SEC filings and press releases. It picks up every single one, so I don't miss anything. Um,
Mm.
this one is my main news feed, just kind of like my normal main news feed, but I turn off the SEC filings. I don't need them cluttering it up, and I turn off the analyst ratings, um, earnings guidance, and all of that because I put that down in the bottom one down below. Because there's a lot of earnings guidance, there's a lot of fucking analyst ratings, and those move the stocks. Um, but I don't want them cluttering up my news feed of like moving type news, like that make those 4-star, 5-star setups and stuff like that. And then I've got a movers tab. So on the movers tab, I've actually got four movers: 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, and 1 hour. Sometimes I'll change the 1 hour to a session, but it really gives me a great idea of what's moving and what continues to move. And then I've got an on watch tab, which is where I set up my news feed and signals for notifications. So that's mainly the purpose of it. It's got my positions. Um, I will put, as far as the watch list, I'm actually going to put my daily watch list as far as the notifications go. But I always add my positions to my daily watch list now. So this gives me just all the signals and all the news for those items, and then the notifications are turned on for those because that's what I really want to know about. I really want notified about. And then a research tab, which is just that. It's just one big detail screen. We'll get to that in a minute because I'm going to talk about mist using CCI and stochastic indicator together. Um, I do have this now. I'm going to create this is kind of like my live webinar. I'm not using it tonight, but this is my live webinar screen. It's actually got a whole bunch of different charts and uh, details, just pulled up news. That's all it is, and it's just for the purpose of
Nice.
showing you guys stuff. Yeah. Um,
Good call.
yeah, and I can load. I load that up whenever I want. And that I'm make that what it's set on right now. It's for that 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. 4-star, 5-star setup. So that's what you see there is a bunch of different 4-star, 5-star plays listed up there. But
I gotcha.
sneak peek, I guess. Sneak peek of what's to come. I
Right.
still use my main one. I like the news desk for 4 a.m. in the morning when I'm trying to really take a look at all the news as I'm sitting in front of it. But when I'm busy at work, I prefer my kitchen sink setup that has the movers, watch list, details, and my basic news, my main news feed. I do have a horology now. Horology, I don't know if anybody knows, but that's the making of clocks, so the making of watches. So this is where I
Huh.
make my watch list. This news feed is everything, all the sources. I don't have partner links clicked right now, but I do actually use partner links. I don't know why it wasn't clicked, but yeah, this news feed is every news article that comes in. And then it's just my movers. It's always set to after hours because when I'm creating my watch list for the next day, that's what I pay attention to is the after hours gainers. Uh, I will flip it over to the regular session just to take a look at some of those charts just to see if it's interesting. But me personally, if it didn't close on its high, I'm not really interested. But OTCs, obviously, OTCs you'd want to look at the regular session, or you're not going to catch those. But I do go to OTC markets for all that shit too. Um,
Gotcha.
I do have the CCI. I'm gonna have a CCI, but chart on my other, but I haven't created it yet. I don't know why it's not looking at the CCI chart, but that's what that's for. All those were. setup for the different indicators, but I found the CCI is the only one useful. These they lag behind VWAP versus VWMA, EMA cross, and double EMA. They all lag behind, or you need to use daily charts. They're more for swing trading, double EMA, EMA cross uh, in particular. But so anyway, yeah, I kind of wanted to show that how I set it up now. I think that's really useful to separate the news feed like that. You actually get everything you want to get, and uh, it's easy. To me, it's easier to read. It's easier to catch stuff. That's good. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was, well, actually, let me go to the mist news. Where did I put that? Yeah, right here. Um, so mist has been a great play for 2 days now. Uh, you can see on the 23rd, it just went ballistic, and I mean, that's about as predictable price action as you could get out of a stock. Um, those dips and bounces. So I wanted to touch base on a couple things. The news on it. Unfortunately, I slept in. I have not been feeling well lately. I've been tired as shit, and I wasn't up for this morning, and I regret it. And I'll show you why. Because the news hit at 4 a.m., but it was a partner link. And when it's a partner link, if you don't, usually partner links are late. Usually that news comes out after it goes to every other source. Um, they're just writing an article about what they think off of a news headline. But if you see a partner link like this and you don't see any other news relating to that partner link, then you are getting in early. That shit is not going to spike right away. Um, it's going to take a minute because that news has not hit everybody else. And the same thing happened to, God, I can't remember the name of it, but the same exact thing happened where the news was a partner link at like 2 a.m. and then at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning is when the news finally hit and it just went ballistic. And you had so much time to just get in at whatever entry you wanted to. So if you ever see that partner link before any other news, uh, ride that train. Ride that train, buddy. So I can kind of show you it did spike a little bit at 5 o'clock, but it really didn't start spiking until 7:30 on the 23rd. It started spiking off of that 7 a.m. news publication. But then they went ballistic. It wasn't just that news. They put out guidance as well. Guidance is really, really important. It gives you an idea of investors, an idea of what's going to happen in the next year or the next quarter. It just depends on what the guidance is in relation to. Um, this one is in relation to them having enough money basically to go all the way through quarter two in year 2022. So they've got just plenty of revenue to, or capital, not revenue, but plenty of capital to just continue doing what they plan on doing, their business. But as you can see, just news after news all morning from 7 to 7:30. The shit went ballistic. Trading halts, all that good stuff. I don't like trading halts, but it wasn't bad trading halts. It wasn't like a halt fest. Um, so anyway, I wanted to show that the news uh, basically because that's the easiest 4 a.m. spiker to get. It didn't spike at 4 a.m., but you could get in at the price you wanted to, the lowest price possible. Um, so yeah, let me go now to today. We could technically, God, did it reset again? Hopefully I can fix it. Okay, good. I'm gonna be pissed. So today, CCI is what I'm talking about using. CCI indicator, I like to use 40. And 5, this is a 1-minute chart, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's on a 1-minute chart. You can use it on anything. 1-minute chart, 2-minute chart, 5-minute chart, 10-minute chart, 15-minute chart. If you get to the daily chart, you're really not going to be using that CCI 5 very much. CCI 5 is only for intraday trading. CCI 40 would be for swing trading and intraday trading. It's actually very important to use them both together. But I also found that stochastic indicator down at the bottom is, oh my God, it's point on. When you combine all three together, you can really get an entry and an exit point at the bottom and the top. So if you're watching this, I mean, the problem with this is if you're really not a pattern, if you're stuck under the pattern day trader rule, you're gonna miss. You're gonna miss a lot because there's buy points, in here and a sell point here. You're gonna make money. That's a good profit from there to, good 50 cents. It's still, but you're gonna make money. But you're gonna sell and use one of your day trades. So that's the unfortunate part about using CCI. So but you're not stuck on, Studley could use this even though he likes to use his volume and that's it. Price action and volume, yeah, whatever. He could really take advantage of this if he wanted to. So you can see that there's plenty of buy points. Well, not plenty, but there's a buy point here, and you would have sold out, well down into here. Basically, your sell point is where that stochastic indicator crosses again, which is actually right in the top. So when that stochastic indicator crosses and your long-term CCI drops below 100, you're selling. So in this particular instance, you're going to miss the big one down here later on that I'm going to show you, but you would be buying in. Technically, you could buy in at the stochastic indicator if you're above 50, which in this case you actually are. So your buy-in would be at the bottom of the stick. When that stochastic indicator, that blue line crosses the red line where the blue line is on top, that is a direct reversal of momentum. It's much, much better than MACD. And when you line it up with CCI, if your CCI is still low in the negative 100s, that's not a time to buy. But if it's at 50 or above or 0 or above and it is climbing, that's a buy point. So you would actually buy in at 830 and you would be getting out at 865. It's 30 cents. It's not bad, but it's a waste of your day trade for this particular instance, because down here you've got a short squeeze and your buy would actually be right here when the CCI crosses up over 100 on the long term and the short term at the same time. Again, you could use the stochastic indicator, which would have bought you in a little bit earlier, would have bought you in right at the bottom. But you're playing a little bit of risk there, I find, when I've looked at the stochastic indicator. So I still wait for the CCI to get up above 100 and 100 on the short term and the long term at the same time. But once you're in, you're looking for that long term to go below 50. And so you may have sold out here because it did drop to 40, 50, right at 50 before it started climbing back in. That's just kind of like that's kind of your own risk reward setup. If you want to play a little bit riskier, you could wait all the way down to the 0 point before it goes into the negative on the long term to make your sell. You're going to lose a little bit sometimes there if you do that. But you don't have to buy in here either. That's the thing with why I say if you're not affected by the PDT rule, you could really take advantage of this, because then you're just going to buy in at this spot. Okay, you're going to buy in right here. You could even buy in at the stochastic indicator right here, which is the last red bar. You're way up on your long term already, so it's definitely a buy point when the stochastic switches like that, and your long term is already high. Your short term is actually already high. It's actually above 100 right there on that first green candle. So you're buying in there, and you're not selling until that drops. It still has not dropped below 100. So once it dropped below 100, you'll also see the stochastic indicator actually reversed on the uptrend. It reversed right here when it was still going up. I wouldn't have sold there just because you're still above 100 on your long term, and you're actually still above 100 on your short term. But once that gets to the 100 mark and your stochastic indicator is also reversed, you're sold. So you sold at the top of the spike based off of an indicator. I've tested it. Like I said, pattern day traders, uh, you can trade as much as you want. So, but if you're affected by the pattern day trader rule, and you gotta kind of pick your best spots, which is where you probably would want to use volume, and because as you can see, the volume here is just never really worth buying in on, whereas the volume here is. But then you would be buying in somewhere up here, so you're missing out on some pennies there by using volume. But if you only got 3 day trades or whatever, then you got to do what you got to do, and you're still riding that wave from 860, 850 all the way to 11. So very, very important indicators I have found. Very, very well set up when you use them this way. You can use just one, but it's not nearly as effective. This one, the short term, you will find people that are not affected by the pattern day trader rule like to use it. They'll buy in when it crosses the negative 100 and just goes up over negative 100. They buy in there, and that's the reversal. And they're not selling until there when it crosses the positive 100. So you can just use one indicator, but that's mainly for somebody that can trade as many times as they want. But even then, I still find that combining all three of these, the stochastic indicator almost always picks the bottom. It reverses like right on point. And so as long as your other indicators line up, you profit. That's pretty much all I had, man. So that's really what I wanted to go over. I haven't been around much lately, so that was something that I caught on to today, and I pretty much nailed it in chat. So I figured I'd talk about it. I am going to stop recording now, so I will hand it over to somebody else. If you want me to record it, I can, but I'll be gone at 10 o'clock.
Now,